Hey everybody, Andrew from Gameosity here, and today we're going to be looking at a Kickstarter preview prototype from Lucky Duck Games. What we're going to be checking out is Zombie Tsunami. It's a light, kind of bluffing, hidden role, zombie horde making game. In Zombie Tsunami, players are trying to build the largest horde of zombies that they possibly can as they pour their way through the city, gathering, let's say, recruiting civilians along and bypassing obstacles all along the way. Essentially, there are two kinds of obstacles that your horde of zombies might encounter, and let's take a look at them here. First kind of obstacle is a jump obstacle. And essentially, the way to pass this challenge is that every player is going to take their horde of zombies, and I think it's super clever, actually, that the zombies are depicted as these little cubes with one sort of zombie splat face. And when you're jumping, you essentially take your entire horde and you roll them, just like dice. Any zombies that come up face up, well, they didn't make it, and everybody else crosses the gap. Easy peasy. The other kind of obstacle that your zombies will face as they move through the city are push obstacles. Push obstacle requires a certain number of zombies to shove past it, and in order to do that, we're going to hold a brief vote on working together as teams. Every player has 3 colored beads. Oh, and keep in mind, these are all prototype components, so I'm sure the final game is going to look much prettier than this. You'll take one of your beads and you'll hold it in your hand, and everybody will reveal at the same time, and that will determine teams. And as long as your team has enough zombies to pass that push obstacle, well, they shove through and keep going. Everybody else who didn't make it, they lose a couple of zombies along the way, and then we keep going. The game will continue moving through the street deck, flipping over card after card until you hit the end of the street, and we will do that sequence 3 times with more difficult cards appearing later in the street deck. Periodically, there will be an opportunity for players to make purchases, and purchases will do things like get you some civilians, which become zombies at the end of the round, or get you some bombs, which you can use to destroy enemy zombies or take out enemy civilians. You can get cards that will recruit zombies for you or save zombies from certain death, and then there are the cards that interact with the rolls, because like I mentioned, there's weirdly a hidden roll element in this game. So at the beginning of every round, each player is going to be dealt a roll card, and these are the cards that sort of dictate how you'll interact with the other players. Ultimately, the goal of the game is to have the biggest horde by the end, but there are these bonus objectives and little opportunities to interact with each other all along the way, and these rolls are how you determine what your bonuses are going to be. So let's take a look at a couple of them. These 3 always show up, no matter how many players are in the game. The UFO, the goal of the UFO is to have at least a civilian by the end of the round. They'll get some extra zombies for doing that. The Giant Z, which I think is some giant zombie squid thing, I have no idea. Their goal for the round is they want to successfully bomb another player's civilians. So as long as they can manage to bomb somebody's civilians, they immediately reveal that they're the Giant Z, and they'll get a few extra zombies right on the spot. And then there's the quarterback, and again, art's not final, but it already looks very shiny. The quarterback's goal is to get bombed. Essentially, I don't mean by partying, I mean they want another player to hit them with a bomb, whether going after the civilians or their horde. When they are the target of a bomb, they will reveal that they're the quarterback, and instead of losing zombies or civilians, they'll actually get to steal zombies from the player who tried to bomb them. And the 3 of these cards form sort of an ecosystem, and so they're the basic ones. With more players come more roles. The Ninja and the Tsunami both relate their goals to the groups. Essentially, the ninja wants to be alone or in the smallest group during a push obstacle challenge, and the Tsunami wants to be part of the biggest team. So both roles care about forming big consensus in who's going to be on which team, but the goal of whether they're going to be on the same team or try to be on another team changes. And the final two roles are the Dragon Head and the Dragon Tail. And essentially, those crazy kids are just looking for each other. As soon as one finds the other, they reveal and they get their bonus zombies. And that's Zombie Tsunami in a nutshell, which is a really weird phrase, actually, if you think about it. It is an incredibly light game. That's important to sort of have in your mind when you go in there. We brought it to our board game meetup, and we had a couple of new folks who had never been to a board game night before, and they had a really good time with it. There were people who were into heavier style games who understandably found it to be not really to their taste. So it's really important that you know kind of the weight that you're going into. There are really only 2 or 3 gameplay mechanisms, so again, super great for 6 relatively new players or people who are just looking for something really, really light. It's very chaotic. There's a lot of chance involved. I do like how they kind of have a few different mechanisms, even though they're very light mechanisms. There's team building, there's the hidden vote, there's the rolling of the zombie. It's the funniest thing, but the fact that these zombies are just little cubes that effectively make them 6-sided dice, to just have one side that the zombie didn't make it. This is a surprisingly compelling and easy to grasp mechanic. So, you know, maybe you've finally got a horde of just a bunch of zombies and this is feeling pretty good, and you can get past push challenges by yourself without even needing to worry about what team you're on, although if you are one of the roles that cares about teams, maybe you still do. But then you get to a jump challenge, you gotta roll, and I just lost several, if not many, if not all, for certain jumps. It's fun. It's light. The market mechanic is very simple. You're either buying zombies or civilians or using bombs to screw with people. It's lightning fast. The box says 30 minutes, but we played maximum capacity with brand new players, and I think it was 15 minutes, maybe 20, because there doesn't need to be a lot of thinking or a lot of, analysis that goes into it. What Zombie Tsunami is, it's a fun, light, large group game for a group that knows that that's what they're looking for. If you're a heavier gamer, or if you need something with more bite, you're probably going to look somewhere else. The bite thing wasn't a pun about zombies, I assure you. I don't make puns, we all know that. But we thought Zombie Tsunami was certainly fun enough, and if it's your kind of game, if it seems like a game that's going to be to your weight class, then we absolutely recommend checking out their Kickstarter. I'm Andrew from Gameosity. We'll see you next game.